This podcast is a proud member of the UUOP network.
This is episode 673 of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast for July 29th, 2025. Hey everyone, it is me, the best host, and I will be guiding you through this week's episode. I'm here with Chris and Lee. No, Michelle, she's still off doing what she needs to do, sort some things out.
She was hoping to be here this week. Actually, very much the topic that she would be interested in as well.
Very much so. And we have a special guest who I'm very excited to introduce. We have Marc Kleinhenz with us. Hi, Marc.
So if you're the best guest, does that mean I only talk to you and I ignore Chris and Lee?
Absolutely, you get
Correct.
it. You see, you're my favourite guest ever now.
Yeah.
Okay, deal.
Yeah.
I'm chatting, man. We'll talk later. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah, me and Chris are going to go and start our own podcast.
Oh, like you've got time for another one.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, so we've got a nice little topic to talk about.
Yes. Been in the works for quite a while. Finally
Yes.
got round to it.
I'm quite excited about this episode.
Horrors Untold is a first-of-its-kind experience that dares you to explore the history and lore of Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights while solving a dark and chilling mystery, all told in a unique book form like no other.
Part Halloween Horror Nights guide, part original story with mind-bending riddles and gameplay scattered throughout.
This is a labour of love by Halloween Horror Nights fans for Halloween Horror Nights fans, created in appreciation of the craftsmanship that Universal Studios puts into its premiere Halloween event. It is the sincere hope of the project to help expand the excitement for and recognition of Halloween Horror Nights to an even bigger audience.
Now, of course, that's the description of the book on the website, but we are here to dive a little deeper.
And hopefully Mark might share some tips and hints, because I'm really struggling
Are you
with the
struggling
puzzles,
at the
if I'm
moment?
honest.
Okie dokie.
let me tell you, before he gets into it, yes, that is what it is. But after Mark kind of went more in detail in that voice memo than you sent me, way better explanation. And he is the guy that needs to be here to do that, to really tell you what this is, because it is freaking cool.
What voice memo? Why was I not privy to this?
I get voice memos about him mowing the lawn. That's something that kids raining.
I like that. I like stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's our private
Wow.
group chat. It's a Snapchat
boys,
Plus.
I see. Boys only, eh? Okay, I get it.
If you want my half an hour voice memos that I'm infamous for, yes, I'd be very happy to bore you to death with those.
Hey, I've got nothing better to do. So, we need to know, who is Marc Kleinhenz and what led you to write this book about Halloween Horror Nights?
Well, since Marc Kleinhenz is a very boring subject, let me just say, the way that you guys read that description, I need you guys to do that perfect. We're going to hire you to be the spokespeople for Horrors Untold. So thank you for making it that dramatic.
Honestly, the book is dramatic. Yes. It needs a dramatic introduction.
It's interesting. I will say it's not what I expected.
No, I'm very confused, but loving it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually ask you a question, Lee, in just a second. Let me just say first, what Chris just said, I didn't really understand until Mark had this half an hour voice memo to walk me through it. That's been literally the reaction from every single person, including the people I hired to work on the project. Everyone's like, wait a minute, what is this? Our layout designer, who spent, a whole year just doing nothing but this book, just about it drove her crazy in a good way. She said it took her a couple months, 6 months, just to finally wrap her head around the whole experience and all the different layers and everything else. We thought it would be really cool to do something never done before. And then once we were in it and now trying to explain it to people, it's just been almost like a nightmare. Even at Spooky Empire last month, just to try and people come over and oh, cool, what's this book? Oh, Islands of Fear. What's that? This cool, custom made map. And I try to explain it to them, and the look in their eyes are like deer in headlights. And some people are like, oh my God, I don't get it, but I love it. I want to buy it. Other people are like, you're very strange and kind of threatening. I'm going to walk over it this way. So yeah, it's been just, the first edition came out in October. The second edition, I think, was in January. And still, half a year later, we're still trying to figure out the best way to communicate what the hell this thing is. So there you go. Oh, sorry, Tracy.
I was going to say, I'm not sure you can communicate what it is because it's so many things.
And I think it's one of those things
it's multi-layered,
but you can treat it as
Lee, what did you think it was?
things. What did I think it was? I don't honestly know, but it's not. I expected it to be a traditional book, which it is, but it's the layout is very unique, and it makes I think sometimes a lot of people might potentially pick up that book, and it is a pretty solid,
it's fantastic
book. But then when you open it up and start reading it, it's not as like I'm trying to word it. So you would expect to pick a book like that up and look at how many pages and how big it is to think this is a book that's going to take me forever to get through. But the way it's laid, I mean, it might do unless you ignore the puzzles like I do and just carry on reading it. Or message Mark and go, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this hand, by the way. It's not as big as you think it is because of how it's laid out.
See, having talked to Mark and kind of having a better understanding, not fully understanding, by the way, because there's a lot going on. Oh, yeah. I see it as kind of a gateway book to different things, right? So, you have the Horror Nights lore, and like we said, it's not a guide in the sense of these are the times that this house is and all that. Yeah. But you have that Horror Nights lore that can draw in a crowd. Then you have the story aspect that can gateway you to a readership level, or vice versa. Let's say you like horror stories. You can read that and go, well, what's Horror Nights? This is kind of cool too. And then you have the puzzle or gamification aspect in there. So you're kind of hitting on 3 different demographics, and each one can kind of be a gateway to the other. That's how I kind of see it as.
And you hit 3 things that I love as well.
Because it feels like, Mark, I don't know, we've completely gone off the question already. It feels like...
We're saying all the ending, and he still has to fill everybody else in on what we're talking about.
It feels like something that's very much aimed at people who were, like, in the early days of the Halloween Horror Nights site, like, looking at those updates all the time, like a Legendary Truth thing, and looking at that sort of whole sort of puzzle riddle aspect of it.
We'd have runes and things, wouldn't we? And it was...
Yeah, but I'm assuming... It is, but also isn't necessarily aimed at that smaller market.
So we have gotten quite a few responses from people like, oh my God, this reminds me of like the Bloody Mary days. Or do you remember that website when you could look through and click on the different images and find different hidden messages? And we didn't necessarily specifically want to recreate the glory days of original HHN. But we're happy that we apparently did.
Yeah.
So we're hoping it does scratch that itch for the true diehard fans. Our puzzle designer, who lives in Scotland, by the way, you guys maybe can, I don't know distances or geography, so I don't know if you guys can like wave out your window and she can see you.
I mean, we're not that far, but yeah,
about 2 hours away.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, definitely you can see hand waves from 2 hours away.
Absolutely.
She's like, oh, this puzzle people will like this. And we did actually finally get, it's taking everyone who buys this book, whether it's a reviewer or a journalist or a fan, it's taking everyone a long time to still get through it, Lee. Like, I appreciate you saying, it's not as dense as you think it is, because the layout, every chapter literally has a different layout. Sometimes you get from the book sideways to kind of, read it. But there is still so much for people who are completionists and they want to get all the hidden messages, literally and also figuratively. It is a very kind of like a slow burn, apparently. But we did finally get a review on a gaming website, and they had, like, I should be paying this person also to be a spokesperson, because he was very generous and very complimentary. And I have to admit, I don't come from the puzzle world. That's why we hired a puzzle designer. She does video games and escape rooms and a whole bunch of different things. The reviewer said, the puzzles are all interesting. There's 3 different buckets. They build in difficulty. I was doing things with pages that I never have in a book before. So it was like hitting all the magic, the magic bells in my head. I'm like, oh yes, thank you. But yeah, I think I'm talking in circles now too, getting to the end before getting back to the beginning.
Yeah. Did you just say they build in difficulty? Because I'm because I couldn't even figure out the first one.
Yeah, I'm still trying to crack this code, but I love code breaking.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm really relishing this. Now I'm looking for the patterns now.
I have no idea what's going on.
Problem is, I'm writing my dissertation at the moment, so I don't have as much time to put into it, because this would be my obsession if I was not doing a dissertation at the same time.
Well, thank you. I'd say that's a compliment.
I'm loving it.
Just to make you feel better, Lee, that reviewer did say it took him about half of the HHN chapters to figure out the hand mechanic, which I think we should probably eventually describe what the hand mechanic is, because it sounds kind of vaguely dangerous, vaguely inappropriate, I guess. But it took him a while to wrap his head around it. And once he did wrap his head around the hand, he's like, oh, I got it. This is great. Yeah. Okay. So I think there is
that phrase can be taken out of context. So badly. Sorry, go ahead.
I forgot what podcast I'm on.
Yeah, man, it's bad. We're bad here. We all suck.
Yeah.
Horrors Untold, that's what it's called. Since Horror Unleashed has been in the news a lot more, all of us, including one of the HHM podcasts, we always get the two mixed up. We always call Horrors Untold Horror Unleashed and vice versa. So it takes a second to get your head on straight. Horrors Untold, first and foremost, is a guide to the history and lore of HHN. It's evergreen. We didn't want to do something that would have to be changed every year because, there's these things called podcasts and websites and articles, and that's a great medium for up-to-date information about touring plans or prices or whatever else.
Yeah.
We wanted the first 32 years of the history as if it were a complete story, beginning, middle, and end. Let's lay out all the lore, all the icons. Let's talk about the evolution across the resort. Let's talk about the evolution across the globe to Singapore and Beijing and stuff. So it's something that you could do if you're a veteran. You want to, just kind of dust off that book and remember, like, what was Jack the Clown? When did he get his? Was it 1920 or was it 1930s when they changed the mythology? So yeah, you can do that. If you're a newcomer, it'll obviously walk you through everything right from square one. But then in addition to that, there is that original narrative because we wanted to put you in a horror mind frame. Just reading about a horror event is not going to make you scared. It's not going. Maybe it'll put you to sleep, but it's not going to get you on the edge of your seat. So we wanted to make this original story that's very much influenced by real life Krampus legends and lore and mythology.
Okay.
And make all of Orlando feel like it's a living scare zone. And so it kind of.
I mean, it kind of is.
Well, sure, in a different way. And we actually had a story editor. His name is Jamie Nash. He's worked a lot with the original Blair Witch Project guys. He's very much into found footage. He really helped us, held our hand, walked us through like what are the ins and outs of the found footage genre, subgenre, whatever it is. And so he really put us through our paces and tried to make the story as solid as it can be. And then on top of that, so we say it's 40% HHN, which means nonfiction, 40% original story, which obviously is fiction, and 20% puzzles and riddles. And if you do solve those, you don't have to, but if you do, we give you some extra story content at the end to kind of give you a little more of an epilogue, an explanation for what's going on.
Okay.
Oh man, see, it's a long explanation. It's a long wind up.
It is, and having read a good chunk of it already, I don't even think that does it justice. It is a difficult thing to actually try and explain to people. It's funny actually talking about Halloween Horror Nights. If you try and explain what Halloween Horror Nights is, or what a haunted house is, to someone who has no concept of that is difficult.
Yeah, you're never going to do that justice.
So it kind of goes hand in hand, actually.
You see, for me, especially with doing the kind of degrees I'm doing, for me, this is just genius because you've got a book within a book, because you've got Marjorie Holden's work, like her, I won't use academic terms because I'm writing all this stuff all the time. It's like her body of work from being she's a professor. So we've got this very well written stuff because she's.
Oh, thanks.
However, I'll tell you what, because you're reading on so many different levels. So I'm really appreciating this. I know it's her memoirs and experiences, but it almost reads textbook style. And then you've got Hunter Spivey, who is the investigator, the paranormal investigator, yes? Is that
He's like a haunt blogger.
Haunt blogger, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he has an interest in that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got this interest. So he's adding to this layer. So there's a third layer. But then you've got Marjorie's going back over her work and she's going, oh, hang on, no, this is wrong. So she's adding notes to her notes. And it's just, you've just got all of these layers to read through, but you don't have to dig deep to be able to continue. And I'm just like, my mind's blown because I'm writing fiction at the moment and I'm just looking at this going, holy crap, how are you keeping track of all of these threads? It's amazing.
Well, Thank you. Just to blow your mind a little bit more, if you pay attention to all of Marjorie's different chapters, when she writes her annotations in the margins, she has different colored ink.
Yes.
The different colored ink is different time periods, and the chapters are kind of told non-linearly. So you can actually go through and dissect them and see what the actual chronological order is.
Okay. Well, just to let you know that I have a notebook and I'm making notes as I'm going along.
Oh, yeah, she is.
That's cool. That's like the biggest compliment I've gotten so far. So thanks.
It feels like something that you would find, obviously on a much lesser scale, in a Horror Nights tribute store. You know, like that kind of narrative sort of story that something like Universal would come up with for the, again, nowhere near as in depth as you guys have done for that book, but on a much smaller scale, something you would kind of see in a tribute store for definite.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, it does.
Just to put it out there, we have nothing to do with Universal. We're totally and completely unauthorized and unofficial.
All the best people are.
Just a full kind of peek behind the curtains here. I have worked with Universal's PR and marketing and legal departments before in a previous job, and the amount of hoops they have to jump through for even the most simplistic of like captions for an image is just mind-boggling. Yeah. So there is absolutely no way they would ever be able to put together something like this. And that's just like, we have a whole chapter about the 6 most influential intellectual properties at HHN, like Stranger Things and Halloween, so on and so forth. So just like that whole chapter right off the bat is gone. But then on top of that, I kind of get the impression from them, like during the Spooky Empire panel, someone asked Mike, hey, can you, Mike Aiello, sorry, the head of HHN, can you please put all the Q videos that you guys do for the different haunted houses, can you put those online? And Mike was basically like, yeah, I can't, sorry. You have to track all the people down. You have to get legal, releases pulled out. And so they can't do this kind of thing. Like we have one chapter that's just literally an encyclopedia of all the different icons and recurring minor characters and locations. Even that I think is kind of a tough sell for them to do. So I take your comment, Lee, like it's something you could find in a tribute store. Thank you for that. This is something that you never would be able to find in a tribute store.
No.
So we're trying to fill in a little hole that Universal itself can't fill. Yeah.
Which is a nice little niche to find yourself in, of knowing the stuff that that they can't do. It's kind of like what we do, because we can be reactionary with the podcast that Universal can't because of having to go through legal. But yes, it's a great spot to find yourself in.
If you can explain it to people without them looking at you like they're a deer in headlights.
I think sometimes you just go, do you like Halloween Horror Nights? If the answer is yes, it's one of those diagram things. If the answer is yes, read this book.
Yeah.
If it's not, read this book. That's the best way to describe it, is just if you are a fan of any or have any sort of affinity for the event, then just read it. And you won't be disappointed, because it is everything you love about that event. And it really is. Because Horror Nights over the years, like we've said, has had that puzzle element to the websites and stuff like that, which has gone away from massively. Like, if you think to how they used to promote Halloween Horror Nights, even as far back as like 10 or 15 years ago, is very different to what it is now. And this very much feels like that sort of old school content.
I would like to add to that even if you don't like Halloween Horror Nights, but you like mysteries and good production value, read this book.
And some puzzles that you might struggle like hell to get through.
Well, on top of all that, if you're also just a not much of a reader like I am, the book cover is badass looking. It makes a great shelf piece.
Yes.
So I have tons of books on my shelf that I just thought looked badass and bought it for that reason. Not to say this is that, but it does look cool.
But Chris, it does have a few little pictures in it, so you're all right.
Yeah, it does.
Well, then I can consider that read if I look at the pictures.
There you go.
No, I'm curious. Let me ask you guys. I'm going to be the host here for a second.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm hijacking your podcast. I appreciate the comments about the production value and the quality and so on and so forth. But given all of that, when you're asked to actually cut the pages or bend them over or to do other things with them, did that give you pause? Were you kind of hesitant?
Pause. It gave me palpitations.
Oh, so we didn't.
Absolutely not.
So for anybody, we've talked about the hand mechanic already. You have very savvily put a print off of that hand on the website, so you don't have to cut the book.
There are some other sections, there's bonus puzzles. There's a spirit that lives in the book. And he has his own bonus sections that he kind of, whenever he takes over the book, you'll notice the pages turn like a certain manila, like a yellowish color, and the font changes. Sometimes it's very blatant, sometimes it's very subtle. You can go through and kind of check it out for yourself. But some of the bonus stuff does still require you to cut, and we don't have that on the website. That's something we could if there's a lot of a demand for it, but it's also something that baked into the premise of the book itself was really to make it an experience. And part of an experience we feel like is the book literally physically changing as you go through it.
Interesting.
Okay.
So drawing on it and stuff, writing it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the heads up on the forthcoming panic attack then.
Which is difficult, especially when we're sharing a copy of the book. But then there's always, you can scan it and print it off yourself. There's always options out there. We would never cut the book up. I can tell you that for now.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. We want it to be totally the idea was, going back to Jamie Nash, our story consultant, he loved the idea that for all the HHN chapters, you have to cut out Dear Hunter, not your old Hunter, who helped make the book.
I know I did.
Yes.
But fictitious character Hunter, who's researching HHN and writing about it in this book. As you cut his hand off and then fold it and use it and manipulate it to find hidden symbols and such, it's like you're changing in your understanding of the event, just as the diagram, this almost autopsy-like picture of Hunter's body is changing and growing. And so Jamie really liked that kind of parallelism, that symbolism that you just, like, it's breaking the fourth wall in a way that a lot of movies and traditional books just can't.
And I think that's another thing that's
so
probably...
We may have to destroy part of that book then.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that's going to throw a lot of people when they do get the book is it is a very hands-on, and it seems stupid to say, but a very hands-on experience, which you're not used to when reading a book.
Right. First of its kind. Yep.
Yeah, it's because it's different, but it's like, we've kind of said it, to bring it back to theme park terms, about Epic Universe. Epic Universe is a very different theme park. And I think people, to get the most out of Epic, you have to change what you know about theme parks. And I feel that Horrors Untold is very much, you need to change how you approach reading a book as well. Don't just expect to pick it up and read it. I mean, you can, but if you want to get the most out of it, you have to approach it differently than you would a normal book.
Yeah, I say it's fair. We really wanted it to be flexible. Like, if you just really only wanted to read the HHN content, or maybe it's your second read through and you just want to kind of, refresh your memory before this year's event or what have you, we tried really hard to make that directly accessible. So, for example, one little thing is every HHN chapter always starts on the right-hand side of the page or the layout. On the left-hand page is part of the in-world story. So you can just completely ignore the left-hand page, go right to the right-hand page and go through it. We really wanted to be flexible and dynamic, responding to your needs or your interests at that moment.
Because I'm already starting to lean into like the different fonts and layouts and things. I'm starting to jump between storylines, if you like. But I hadn't actually fully thought that out of it being, until you said that, Mark. That hadn't actually fully clicked in place in my head.
I wonder if anyone listening who hasn't had hands on the book yet have any idea what we're talking about right now.
What I would suggest is get the book
and then
come back and listen to this again.
Yeah, that'd probably be better.
Well, no, I would say listen to this, get the book, come back and listen to this again after having a go run through the book.
Well, you can tell where we're at because Chris has gone into listener mode. Chris is normally way more chatty, but he's gone into, I'm not a host right now, I'm just listening and enjoying the conversation because I'm completely fascinated by the whole thing. Am I right there, Chris?
You are absolutely correct.
I did look and I can't remember. How many pages is it?
320.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm about 150 something pages in.
Oh, I'm not that far in.
Oh, okay. So you're getting into it.
Yeah. And little recurring things as well, and I'm trying not to give too much away, especially because Lee's not as far ahead as I am, and I don't want to spoil it for him.
I think I might have to go back and start it again.
Get mad, right?
Honestly, just everybody just go and get a copy because it's phenomenal.
It is a gorgeous book. Like
we're not doing very well at asking all these questions.
No,
we're just fangirling.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on a lot of these.
Any of them yet, really. We've just gone all around it.
I wish to go to Universal Studios Singapore.
Hello, I'm Steven Spielberg. Ride the movies at Universal Studios Singapore. A spectacular destination for the people of the region and the people of the world.
Where can our vacation wizards take you? Just tap the port key at portkeyvacations.com and let the magic begin.
Let's ask some of the let's get some proper details.
Okay, sure.
So the book was a huge collaboration, including no less than 2 people who have been contributors to UUOP over the years. What brought that team together?
Oh, this is one answer I can give that's very simple and direct, and I can just say unabashedly, it was me. I was the poor sod who had to track everyone down and get them on board and have them. And this actually is a really, really cool part of collaborations that I love so much. When you talk to other people, especially if they're smarter than you and they're more talented than you, which is, let's be honest with me, it's most people around me, they really open up and spark ideas that you had no idea could even be possible. And so if it's Maggie, the layout designer, or if it's Myri, our puzzle designer, or Jamie, our story consultant, Xandra is my co-author. Xandra wrote all the HHN chapters. I did all the original chapters. Just all these different, there's Elena. I always mispronounce her name.
Is that the illustrator?
Yes, the illustrator, a former scare actor in HHN Hollywood. They always came up with certain ideas. Like, here's one little bonus thing. I hope it's not too much of a spoiler. When it came time to do the IP chapter, and we were trying to come up with ideas, like what would be very evocative of these IPs without, kind of getting in trouble with their lawyers. And so for Stranger Things, I said, please give me a plate of waffles. And she not only did that, but she had syrup being poured on the waffles, and that pattern of the syrup flowing over the edges of that food looks like the Mind Flayer, the shadow monster.
Fantastic.
Nice.
So there's lots of little things like that where it's just like, my God, you guys are making me look so good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I mean, it's hilarious when you think back to like Hunter being part of it. He used to be on the show. It was funny because when he was on UUOP, he was the font of Halloween Horror Nights knowledge. Yet he'd never been to a single event at that point. And funny
I didn't
enough,
know that, actually.
Yeah, his first year wasn't that long ago, and we kept trying to get him to go every year, and it took him a long time to go. Funny enough, I think the last time I saw, actually, I was going to say your graduation birthday thing last year, but previous to that, the last time we saw him was at Halloween Horror Nights, actually.
It was, actually.
He was stood in the middle of Louis staring at me going, excuse me, I'm here, by the way.
That was hilarious.
Like, oh, hey, how you doing?
Yes.
And then, of course, Seth is like the font of Universal Orlando knowledge for everything.
Everything, yes.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Fun fact for you. I was just talking to Hunter before I came on this podcast, and he had a special message for you, Lee. He said,
God.
Every time Lee says something that's wrong, you got to make a giant sound at him. And I said, okay, Hunter, I'll do that.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, bless him.
And Seth really, I told him, you got to get into creative writing. He's like, oh, no. If you give me the requirements, like a list of ingredients, I'll whip up a really good meal for you, but I can't come up with the ingredients myself.
Really?
His assignment was to write a fictitious news story about all the crazy shenanigans that are going on in Orlando and all these possibly paranormal, menacing things that are slowly descending upon the city and all of its inhabitants. And he wrote it first of all, it was like one of his Orlando Weekly articles, which is exactly what I was going for. Mm-hmm. But he did it, he sold it in such a way that's like, I could read a whole book about Seth and his fake, encounters with the paranormal.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, me being in kind of like that sort of avenue of school, writing a book is a huge undertaking, no matter what it's about or at any time. But you took on an event like Halloween Horror Nights, which has 30 plus years of history and all that lore. And a lot of that has actually taken place before internet really took off. That makes fact finding very difficult. So how long was it from inception to publication?
Oh, geez. You just open up a whole can of worms. A couple of cans of worms, actually.
Okay.
Because I'm sure just collecting all the history of Horror Nights is a massive undertaking on its own.
Yeah. Especially with the thousands of die-hard Horror Nights fans that will fact check you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
God forbid. I know you had to run into this, Mark, but God forbid you wrote just one sliver of a deviation from what the known truth is. Mm-hmm. It's like people are like, oh, why'd you say that?
So, a couple of different responses. First of all, I can say, because this is kind of a found footage premise, even the HHN material is kind of approached from this framework of being found footage. we can do things like, for example, the original history for Jack the Clown was he became immortal in 1920. And they changed it to 1930s once Dr. Oddfellow came around a few years ago. I shouldn't say came around. He came around as a major icon. How's that?
Yeah.
So we're able to have a little note that the fictitious hunter wrote down, like, oh, the lore is ever changing. And then we superimposed, we cut it out of the piece of paper and we superimpose that over the chapter. So we're able to kind of respond almost like in real time. This change, we can point this out, we can talk about that. So it actually makes things a lot easier since you're not locked into, for example, a wiki, the HHN wiki, which is great, but it is good. I have to make a confession here. Seth actually was very generous. He hit me up. He wanted me to write a little blurb about HHN for the next edition of the unofficial guides. We'll see if it actually ends up making the cutting block. Oh. But the other night, like Lee, you messaged me. You're like, I couldn't be bothered to get up off my ass and go grab my reading glasses so I can read the book. I don't want to read my reading glasses. They're all the way upstairs. Screw that. I'm just going to go on the wiki and look up this.
Oh no, I didn't look on the wiki. I didn't do that. It was like because there was a certain page. I think it was one of Marjorie's with all the stuff in the margins and written round because I didn't have my glasses with me. There's no way I could read that little writing. They were downstairs and I couldn't be bothered, so I just put the book down.
Shall I give you a little tip? You take a photo on your phone and you enlarge it.
Oh, who can be bothered to do that?
I mean, God.
I was the same way, and I'm like, I'll just fact check this instead of reading the chance subchapter in my own book. I'll just I'll go to the wiki, and the wiki was it's not laid out in a coherent fashion because its job is not to tell a story. Its job is just to collect factoids.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, never mind. I had to close the window. I had to go get off my lazy ass. I had to grab my reading glasses and get my book and actually read that section.
You man.
So.
It was late. It was like 11:30 at night. I was tired. I just wanted to read a couple of chapters before I went to bed.
Evening, what are you talking about?
Not for those that have to get up at 6:30 to go to work. It's not.
It happens, middle age.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we wanted to do something just for that very reason. Like, you don't want to track things down on different websites or different sources, or even the sources that are there. You want it maybe presented in a more coherent, hopefully better written fashion. So that's one of the reasons behind the book. It's also something that no one's really done before. No one's really kind of collected, not a year by year event guide, but like an overview of the history, an overview of all these different facets. Like very much, there's one chapter that's kind of laid out like a tribute store almost, where it takes you from section to section. And that's all about the merch and the food and how it's changed and developed over the years, and the tribute store also. So we really wanted to provide something that was timeless and evergreen, something no one's ever done before. And that was the idea behind, there's a little company that we started up in order to do this called Luma Narrative. And this is our first official product. We have a couple of other pots on the stove. This is why I'm a writer. I can't talk. Words
Ironed in the fire.
No sense. Yes, thank you. We have other things that we're doing. How's that?
Yes.
And we hope to get them off of the developmental stage and into the real world at some point. But the whole idea behind all those different projects was to have you interact with this favorite thing you have called theme parks in a way that it's almost like a substitute when you can't be down there. Even, the Floridians, like the strange guy on the podcast named Chris, he has to drive a couple of hours to get to Orlando. And you can't get there as much as you might like, especially if you have a 10-month-old terrorizing you. This hopefully could be something that you get, and it can kind of scratch that itch for you. It's like immersion in a pocket. It's a portable haunted house. Yeah. We wanted to really capture that sense of immersion, and all the projects that we're working on that has the same idea, even if it's not about horror specifically.
So, Mark, our listeners are all screaming, but he didn't actually answer that question. So how long did it take from inception to publication, Mark?
3 years all told, working around the clock. But I have to admit that at first this was the side project, and eventually at some point across those 3 years, it became the active main project.
Okay.
But a lot of researching, that reminds me. You're talking about, pre-internet days, and you can't find anything, and it's hard to kind of get scraps of information together. And Xandra did all that, and not only did she did that for the first event year, all the way back in the dark ages of 1991, she actually, to the best of her ability, and I think she knocked it out of the park, she did a walkthrough experience. What was it like going through Dungeon of Terror, that first HHN hunt? What would it have been like? And here's the scare actors that we more or less know. Like, we don't know their exact placement, obviously, but here's the kind of like the overall flow of that experience just for all of us who weren't around to actually do it. So yeah, 3 years of research and writing and revising and putting the puzzles in, and that broke everything. So we had to reformat the whole book, and then so on and so forth.
So then off the back of that, it taking that long and all that research then, why go down the route of doing a guide, history, story, puzzle book over just a traditional Halloween Horror Nights like history book?
I guess I should answer that by saying the guy who is backing this whole project and backing the whole company, his name is Dan Hatfield. He's the guy who was the original creator of Orlando Informer. He's the guy who originally hired me 13 years ago now. And his passion while he lived in Orlando was the theme parks. And then he ended up selling the site about 10 years ago, and he moved back north, closer to me, actually. And he always kind of missed that hole in his heart that was the theme parks. He wanted to get back into it. And when I ended up quitting OI finally about 4 years ago now, our paths accidentally reconnected. And he said, hey, let's do something. But I don't want to do a website. I don't want to do a book. I don't want to do anything traditional or normal. I want to do something new. I want to do something that pushes the envelope and that interacts with fans, catches them in a way that they haven't been caught before. And so to me, the best part of a theme park, it's not obviously waiting in line. It's not sweating your ass off in Orlando. No offense, Chris. It's none of that stuff. It's the immersion. It's being in a different time and place. It's connecting with these characters and just the atmosphere of it, like just walking into a different reality. You could just sit there on the bench and take it all in. You don't have to actually do anything. And I think that's why HHN's been so successful. I think it captures this kind of atmosphere that just is, even though it's been changing, especially over the last 10, 15 years, it really still has this certain feel, this certain energy that courses through it that doesn't even happen a couple hours before USF closes for daytime operations. It's a whole different place and thing and entity. And so I wanted to take Dan's challenge to do something new and try to use that as a conduit for that immersion. And that's why we decided we don't want just a book that you open up. We wanted a book that you can kind of fall into. I guess not literally, but you are literally folding the pages and bending them and writing on them and cutting them, and you're going through worlds within worlds.
Interesting. I mean, he's done exactly what he set out to do something that isn't traditional and is very different from what you would normally expect. So, you guys have, not just him.
Yes.
It's been a challenge. It's been far more difficult than we ever thought. Looking back, we're like, oh, those young, innocent, naive days of 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the jury's still out as to whether, it ends up being something that people really end up embracing and loving and even just understanding. But we're on our way.
And it's doing things like this that are going to get the name. I'm not saying that we're your biggest fans or whatever, but it's like you can only read so much to understand it, whereas listening to people talk about it, I think will make it easier I hope it's making it easier for people listening to this to understand what it is. Or even if you're not necessarily understanding what it is, because apparently we all talk in riddles just normally, at least give you a focus, an idea of what it is that intrigues you enough to go out and take a leap of faith and go and read the book.
It is very rewarding. I mean, obviously you can't be there and watch people read and see the expressions, but I kind of get secondhand glimpses of that through messages, or even like we were at Spooky Empire, people are kind of flipping through it, and you can see for some people, like it starts to dawn on them, like, oh my God, this is just all kinds of messed up. Like you get that spark in your eye. I imagine that's what it's like when you walk into a haunted house for the first time. Well, maybe a little more fear when you go into one of the haunts. But yeah, it is really, really cool to kind of get a secondhand glimpse of that comprehension of, oh, I don't comprehend this at all.
I think it's definitely one of those books as well for people to pick up and flick through, to really jump out. If you just pick a book up and flick through it, it's just words on a page.
Yes.
Whereas you pick Horrors Untold up and start flicking through it, you're like, oh, this is very different from what I'm used to.
Yes.
And immediately kind of gives you an idea of what it is.
Yeah. When you've got different colorations, you've got pages on the sides, you've got illustrations, you've got runic symbols. It's very intriguing.
And like excerpts from websites and like the socials and stuff. It's really going to, the kids are going to enjoy it. It speaks to the kids.
How old are we again?
I'm very old,
Why,
Chris.
thanks. I'm a kid.
It definitely is supposed to keep you on your toes. It's definitely supposed. And the crazy thing is, it's actually a lot less chaotic and a lot less overwhelming than the original idea behind it. I don't want to get too much into the original idea because, to be perfectly honest with you, we're hoping to do a follow-up project, and the follow-up project is going to tap into a lot of those unused ideas.
Cool.
That's fine. Let's keep that there then.
Yeah.
But it is just the tip of the iceberg. For as crazy and insane and multi-layered as it is, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah. So we've already talked a little bit about it already. But how has the book been received by people who've bought it so far? What sort of feedback are you getting?
Again, it's been a slow burn. Everyone who gets it, again, if it's a reviewer or a fan or whatever, people always seem to. And I actually take it, to be honest, it's kind of frustrating. Like, oh my God, no! Like, I want feedback now. Please read the whole thing in 2 seconds flat and tell me everything you think. But I also take that as a compliment because like people want to enjoy it, they want to savor it, they want to kind of like slowly dip their toes and get into the whole thing.
Yeah.
We have gotten comments about how much like vintage HHN it feels like, from the story to the puzzles to the clues, just the icons, just all that stuff. And that really has been the biggest compliment that we've received out in the wild. Seeing we have the first ever map of Cary, Ohio. And again, our illustrator kind of one-upping me. She took the actual Cary, Ohio, which I've never been to. It's only a couple hours away. I should probably go there, maybe photograph the book in different locations.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
She took like the road structure, the main like freeways, and she kind of used that as the framing device for her fictitious map where she put in the drive-in and there's the estates and there's the den of vampires and all the other little like Easter eggs. So we did the first one of those. We did a custom-made exclusive version of Islands of Fear. Even with Xandra wrote up like brand new descriptions for all the scare zones and houses and stuff. People just seeing that and connecting to those specific things, like, oh my God, I always wonder what Cary looked like. This is kind of like, cool. So just kind of seeing that level of fandom and nerddom has been fantastic.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. UUOP is brought to you by the Producers Club. Join today and get bonus episodes, chance to be guest host, be part of our awesome Facebook community, and more. Head over to uUOP.supercast.com to subscribe. Shameless plug.
I'm going to say it now. I hope it does well, Mark, because it deserves to. And it's really one of those things of putting as much effort into it as you guys have. For it to, I don't want to say for it to fail, but it deserves to be, because you look how popular Halloween Horror Nights is now, that it deserves to do well, because it isn't just a bog standard Horror Nights book. No, this is it. It's so unique. I want to see it flying off the shelves. But when I'm saying it's unique, I'm not saying it's so unique that it's off-putting. Yes,
it's I can't put it into words. You just got to get your hands on a copy, and then you'll understand.
I think that's it. I think it could be off-putting for people because they don't know what it is. And I think that's
a little overwhelming.
Yeah, you've already kind of said it, Mark, that it's like trying to explain it to people of what it actually is difficult. And I think once you get that across, people will get it, but it's just trying to get people to...
It's not your common or garden book.
Yeah, to try and either get what it is or take a leap of faith is a big step.
A leap of faith is a big step. You are right.
We're not talking about Assassin's Creed right now.
We were going to pivot over to Horror Nights, but if you want to briefly do like a quick high-level thing, how you told me about Christmas and Halloween being together, I never knew that. I thought that was cool.
So all of us here being Americans and British people, I guess you're people, we'll call you people, British people. Unfortunately, we kind of got the short end of the stick when it comes to Christmas, particularly in America. Like you British, for whatever reason, you took all the more kind of mainstream, more, I guess, sane elements of Christmas time. And then you exported that over to us, of course. And then we got it. And then Americans, this is something in my research I never really was too cognizant of. We don't like holidays. We cut out as many holidays as we possibly could. And we just have a bare minimum amount. And so we kind of distilled things even further. When I lived in Japan, like every other day there's a holiday. I'm like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, that's just because Americans are boring, apparently.
You have way more public holidays than we do over here that have like specific names. You got Arbor Day and Memorial Day and
yeah, those don't count.
Ridiculous all this like
we have like what 6 days, 7 days that we get off the whole year, and that's it.
Yeah, that's a late stage capitalism. It's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But the point of that is, like, I never really fully looked into, or even partially looked into. You could honestly and literally spend your whole life researching just one section of the Christmas traditions of the last 2,000 years.
Yeah.
I focused on the Germanic ones, from Germany, from the region around the Alps, to Iceland, and then the Greenland, and obviously here through England and in America. But even those, even if you stay within that kind of general bucket, there's the thing like Krampus.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many different creatures and devils and entities that are just so bizarre. Christmas was a time that started in October and went until February. And there was lots of different milestones all scattered throughout. And you had all these different things going on. Like Christmas Day itself was a day that the vampires would come out. If you had the misfortune of being born on Christmas Day, for one religious reason or another, you were basically doomed to be either a vampire or a werewolf. Oh, that's also a good day for werewolves to come out and cavort.
And that's the dream right there.
Do you want to know something? My due date was Christmas Day.
There you go.
And I was
Mr.
born a couple
Culling.
of days early. Damn it.
Tracy, what are you not telling us?
It's when the elves come out, and not just like the cutesy elves in the North Pole that we know now, but like scary elves. Elves like there was a real kingdom called, or was it the king was Gandalf? All these Lord of the Rings references that I fail to appreciate, all the different names and just all these different things. You're like, oh my God, everywhere you look, it's a time of supernatural pandemonium. The barrier between our world and the next and other parallel dimensions and worlds, and then even non-corporeal worlds, like witches would leave their bodies and fly about, and they can kind of slip from one reality to the other. That was the end of the year. And then eventually here in America, we kind of squeezed it down so that all of that, the darker aspects and the creatures and everything else just got stuck to Halloween Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then Christmas itself, this is a process that you nice British people started to become more about children. The focus got more on families and children. And we really solidified that here with Coca-Cola and Santa Claus and everything else.
Those damned Victorians.
Yeah, right. And then all of January and February just kind of fell off the calendar completely. And New Year's was also a big part of it as well. But we kind of put these in different buckets. So going through and researching it and talking about it and kind of getting into how that was the original, all of that was originally what we would call Halloween today in modern times.
Yeah.
And then taking the Krampus traditions and taking the Krampus stories and mythologies and folklore and taking that and building that as the original story for the book. That was also another huge part, a fun part of doing the whole thing.
So history book is another checkbox. That we have.
There you go. Yeah. At least one check.
Which I think it's cool. Like that. Honestly, I had no idea about, that level of, detail of kind of how these holidays and traditions came about. I love stuff like that. But yeah, I thought that was super cool. I thought it'd be good to mention that. Now,
yes,
let's talk about Horror Nights real quick, because that's kind of like where this book came from, right?
Exactly.
So, in your opinion, what is it about the event that has captured so many people's imaginations and has really made it, from its early days of just being kind of a local thing, and maybe I'll check it out, to this worldwide phenomenon?
I think you can't escape the very basic, boring stat that you have 10 haunted houses, that you have multiple experiences that you can experience, to repeat that word, in one experience. So you go to one place and you have multiple houses, you have multiple scare zones. You now have things like the tribute store. You have the tie-in drinks at the hotels. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger within Universal Orlando specifically. And so I feel like having something that's so multifaceted, that has to be, I think, just on a basic human psychological level, a big part of the draw. What other haunt event anywhere in the world can even kind of remotely compare to the complexities and the different varieties of experiences you can have at Universal? I also think the subject matter, it was obviously darker and gorier way back when. It's been a little more sanitized, although I think they're experimenting with that a bit, like with Terrifier.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes.
Very excited.
Cannot wait.
I still kind of suspect it might not be quite. I think it's graphic for modern connotations, or just for comparison's sake, I feel like it will be more graphic than it was before. But if you were to go back in time and compare that to something from the early aughts, I wonder how that would actually stack up.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically what you said, it might push the boundaries of what Halloween Horror Nights is now, not what Halloween Horror Nights has been.
But still, that's
okay though. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
These things grow and they evolve and they change, and it's like getting back to the whole collaborative process. Ideas spark, and it takes on a life of their own, and that's one of the biggest beauties of creating. And it doesn't matter if it's a book or it's a horror event or whatever. Seeing how things go and kind of following that and trying to just hang on for dear life, or maybe every once in a while trying to get in front of it and maybe goad it in a different direction. That kind of experimenting. I mean, the whole Mel's die-in with zombies, like that to me is actually one of the most interesting and exciting parts of this year's event, even though it might just be very small and simple and probably nothing to write home about. But just that kind of tinkering, that experimentation, that to me is the biggest through line of HHN, and I think a big explanation for its success.
You said something there, and it just has me now thinking and the cogs spinning where, it keeps on expanding and growing into different facets of the resort as a whole. And I think it's a good take where, we have some local haunts in South Florida. We have one really good one that I love to go to every year. But it's really, I drive 20 minutes to get there. I experience it for 2 or 3 hours, and then I'm gone and I'm back in, quote, the real world. Where at Universal, right, when you go to that event, it's expanded, like you said, to the hotels. So even when you're back at the hotels, there you still have that Horror Nights vibe. You can grab a cocktail that reminds you of this. Maybe they have some exclusive foods. And I think that is a very big draw, right? Because you get to live in this world for a bit, not just a small experience of going through a couple haunted houses. That's interesting.
I mean, we've talked about it before, haven't we? That Tracy, Chris, and I are very much, to quote Tracy, we are dead inside. We don't get scared in the houses.
Have it in my book bag.
We don't get scared in the houses at all. It might drop your guard ever so briefly while like talking to somebody else and not see a scare going, but it's rare. It's rare.
But I love it when somebody actually does make me jump, and I did get one the last time we were there.
And it's more because you're distracted by something else, because we're so used to how Halloween Horror Nights works now.
We're going for theater and set pieces.
Yeah, so that's where I was going to go.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at, details.
Because we went through a couple of houses back in 2019 with Horror Nights queen herself, Julie Zimmerman. And she hadn't been to the event for like 15 years or more. And yet she walked through that Universal Monsters house at 2019 and pointed out every boo hole through that entire house. And I'm like, it just shows that the event hasn't really changed. They have a formula, and that's the way it works. So when I talk to people, like, oh, do you not get scared in the house? And I'm like, no. Then why do you go? And it makes you take a step back and you think, because obviously the whole point of it is to put yourself in a position where you can get scared, but in a safe manner. And Chris and Jesse both just said it there, because of the level of set pieces and the whole of Halloween Horror Nights. That's what we go for.
You get immersed in the theatrics rather than the acting
of attention to detail that they do, and they still manage, even though it's an event that's very much a conga line for the most part. They still manage to somehow give you individual experiences in the houses and the scare zones, and it still blows my mind how they do that. I adore the event so much. There are things that annoy me about it, and that's kind of where we wanted to finish this off, because the event very much has become a victim of its own success. So in your opinion, Mark, where does the event go from here to allow it to continue to grow and be the event that it is, but also not be impossible for someone to navigate who isn't a Halloween Horror Nights veteran? Because it's funny, like this question that's cropped up at work. Kirsty, a girl I work with, they go to Orlando all the time. She's doing Halloween Horror Nights for the first time this year with her family. They're doing one night, and I'm like, the first thing, get more nights, because one night will not be enough unless you're going to shell out ridiculous amounts for RIP or express passes or whatever. So then trying to explain to her in a nutshell how to navigate Halloween Horror Nights for someone who I know it well enough, but I'm not someone who knows that event inside out and can give all the hints and tips. To someone who's never been is so difficult. And I know that she'll probably go and not experience half of what that event has to offer.
Yeah, I can see that. Your answer, where does the event go? You're not going to like it, but I'll tell you my honest answer. It's Walt Disney World. It's already Disney World in terms of just the ticketing options. Imagine trying to walk someone through all the different options. I mean, they in some ways it's a little easier because you don't have to have like a non-date specific or a date specific single night ticket. They got rid of that. But then in other ways, it's even more complicated because with the Express selling out so quickly and stuff like that, it's almost like you need a PhD just in horror night tickets to understand what that is. And there's a reason behind that. It is so profitable. It is such a successful enterprise on its own that your honest answer is it's not going to be something for the layman. You have to be an expert. I went to Walt Disney World last year for the very first time in 30 years. And oh my God, it was such a different experience. And I did not particularly enjoy it. My kids did, and I enjoyed watching them. And there's certain things that were great, but like just trying to navigate the app, get individual ticket purchase for individual riders beforehand, trying to wait in a virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's what it was back then. All those ins and outs and complexities, you need 2 PhDs to understand all that stuff. And of course, all the different upcharges and the premium this and premium that, that's part and parcel of navigating Disney World. That's more and more where HHN is going.
Okay.
Universal makes almost pure profit off of an Express Pass.
Wow.
I mean, maybe they have to print out a ticket, you know, like a piece of paper. You have to pay the cost for a piece of paper, and that's it. And even that's kind of gone by the wayside because you have the Universal app. And so your Express ticket's right there. It's virtual. It's almost pure profit. So they don't want necessarily to discourage people from coming because it's more food sales, it's more this, it's more that, it's more Express sales, it's more RIP. I think everyone earlier this year, for example, was talking about 11th House. I was like, do you know how much money it costs to put together a house like that? To find the space, to design it, to populate it with makeup artists and scare actors and everything else. The cost to benefit ratio, the cost to profit ratio. There we go. See, again, talking very hard. It's very, very steep, which is precisely why Disney itself doesn't do a 5th theme park at Walt Disney World and probably never will. You probably, maybe someday we'll see an 11th house at HHN. It's going to be a long time.
But then the argument is that 11th house, everyone clamoring for an extra house wants it to alleviate the crowds. But the problem is, as you've just said, for how much it's going to cost them to put that house together and staff it, they're going to up the attendance cap so you're not getting the benefit of having an extra house. You're just going to have more people in who are going to be spread across 11 houses rather than having, say, a 20,000 capacity spread over 10. Now we'll put an extra house in. They'll go, right, well, we'll up the capacity to 25,000 that year.
Yeah. How do you alleviate crowds? Well, maybe you try to lead them around a little bit more through the app. Maybe you have Easter egg hunts. Maybe you do this. Maybe you do that. Maybe you have an upcharge for like our IP tours. So you're going to have, I feel like, more and more premium experiences that you can opt into in order to navigate it more easily. And that's also what part of the reason why we came in with this book, because it's not going to help you with strategies. It's not going to help you with the best way to experience everything in one night or anything like that. But it is going to help you get an understanding, a context for what the event is, and the mythology, the story, to help you get up to speed a little bit more so you can appreciate a little bit more of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's just like with 34 years down the line, it has so much history now. And you kind of need to know enough of it to get the most out of the event. And I don't think I'm well versed in a lot of I hope to by the time I finished Horrors Untold, available at your local bookshop and horrorsuntold.com. There we go, plug. But yeah, it's only going to get more and more. Like I say, with Kirsty at work, I worry what she's going to be able to get done, having no real concept of what that event is. and then me just trying to give her little hints and tips here and there, it makes you realise what an event it is to navigate, and the best way to do it is to throw money at it, and I hate that.
And wear good shoes.
Yeah, because it's exactly what you said. It's becoming the Walt Disney World model where it worries me that Universal are doing that quite a bit. Like, we would normally do an RIP tour. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
We looked at it this year. I think Michelle priced it up for the Sunday that we're potentially all together, and it was coming out at over $5,000 for that day, and that's far too rich for our blood.
Yeah, we've reached that threshold.
When it's costing you as a couple over $1,000 for an RIP tour, and I honestly don't necessarily think the value is there for it anymore.
That's interesting. That's an interesting conversation to have. It's a whole side conversation.
It is.
There is a kind of a positive, well, let's not say positive. Let's say there's a silver lining to this complex financial cloud, and that is you get these, for lack of a better word, spin-off experiences. Yeah. So even if you're not paying the ticket price to go set foot in the theme park for that night, you can go to the lobby of your hotel. You could see it kind of made up a little bit. You can get a little bit of the music. You can get a drink or a bite to eat. Yes. You can go to the Dead Coconut Club. You can go to Horror Unleashed in Las Vegas or Chicago. Universal hinted they had lots of different locations possibly in mind. And by God, I believe them. If they're announcing a second one before the first one opens, there's a lot of different ways this thing can go. And so you can kind of bask in its glory in these little kind of ancillary experiences. So there you go. That's a potential upside for you.
Okay. And we'll see. Apparently it's coming to the UK park as well. That will be a very interesting experience. We shall see how that goes. I have a little trepidation.
Yeah. British people are a different breed.
British people around British people, not British people around Americans. It's a very different thing.
Yes.
We shall see. Sorry,
you guys write a book about that.
Oh, God.
Our British listeners understand exactly what we're saying, to be fair.
It'll be very interesting.
It will be. Right?
I mean, we could go on and on and on. I hope we've done the book justice. I hope people listening have a good idea of what it is, enough that you feel like you want to go and take the leap and try it.
Guys, when have I ever steered you wrong?
Yeah.
You know? So
there was also, and I don't know if you want to plug it now or plug it later, but you can also, the website has some videos as well, kind of showing some of the stuff, including how, the book looks itself. For you people who like to put things on shelves like myself. So yeah, definitely
it's a very nice website as well.
Out. It is.
Yeah. Yes, I have it open right there.
That actually is. You were asking earlier, like what kind of responses have you gotten? Universally, from every single person who's even glanced at it, every single response we've gotten from someone who gets his hands on the book is, "Oh my God." Like, it's bigger than a normal size book.
Yes,
it's way heavier. It's almost 3 pounds. We did put a lot of money in the printing of it, the like high gloss paper, which, sorry, you have to cut it, but there you go. Everyone's just like, "Oh my God, it's beautiful." And it's so funny. I took that for granted. Like, that was always the baseline in my head. Like, yes, we're going to put real money into this, and it's going to be a real experience, a real like high quality book, not like something that's print on demand, which, no offense to print on demand. I do that too. So I take that for granted, and just people's first responses when they open up the package, they look at it. We had one person who said she literally gasped when she pulled the book out for the first time and like got it in her hands. Wow. So that's to hear you guys talk about that and comment on it and say it's like a bookshelf, like a centerpiece of your bookshelf. That's huge, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I meant to say off the back of that, I was like, for me, that's a coffee table book. It's something that should be.
Yeah.
Out on show for people, like visitors, just to leaf through as well. And if we had a coffee table, which I'm not allowed a coffee table,
no,
because I pile things on things. If I had a coffee table, it would be on my coffee table. So,
thank you. Hopefully, all written and cut up.
Yes.
No.
It will be now. Now I've been told I have to. It will be. Okay. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We have had an absolute blast having you on. It's been very informative.
Yes.
And thank you.
Also daunting, because I'm realising how many more layers to this book there are, but very excited about that.
But listeners, don't let that put you off.
No. Dig in, because it'd be really great to see some online discussion about it as well. But I'm going to pass it over to Chris now, because he's got something for you guys.
Yeah. Well, not me, but Mark and the crew have kindly offered to supply some prizes for you, the listeners, to win in promotion of the book. We have some Pumpkin Lord stickers and a Cary, Ohio poster, which Mark was talking about earlier. Now, all you have to do is send in your answer to what is your favorite piece of HHN lore or your favorite HHN icon and why. Now, send that over to us at podcast@uuopodcast.com and title the email Book Giveaway.
And just for the record, it is a poster, but it's a mini poster, although it is one that's going to be a nice little frame for you. So like, I don't want people to get this image like it's going to be this giant movie poster size thing. It is it is smaller, but it's something that we thought worked and felt better than a full-size poster. It's a whole weird psychological thing that's wrong with my team. Anyway, please continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Is it like that TV from The Office where Michael Scott gets it, puts it on the wall? Just no.
I've never seen The Office. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
I need to.
Never mind. Disregard that reference.
Yeah, and we'll give you till, let's say, Friday the 29th of August. We'll give plenty of time because this comes out next week. So, yeah, we'll give you about a month to get your answers in because people don't always listen in a timely fashion. So we'll give you till
August
29th to get your answers in. But we also have something special for our listeners that Mark has kindly given, and that is an exclusive 10% discount code using... What is the code, Mark? What did we actually go with?
I'm crossing my fingers here, Mark. Don't let me down.
So I wanted it to be send Tracy back to Japan 10, but no, that we said absolutely not. So in honor of Seth's contribution, it is Little Things 10 to get 10% off.
Yeah.
I like that.
It.
And that discount code is exclusively for when ordering through horrorsuntold.com.
Yes.
On that website.
Yes.
So, yeah, cool.
Yes.
Go and get buying.
Definitely.
Guys, it's been 8 years since I've been on the show. It's been fantastic having me back on your show and ruining it. And thank you for letting me do that.
Hey, you're welcome.
I've really enjoyed it. Chris, it's been nice meeting you and getting to kid talk with you. Yeah. So thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate everything.
You're welcome.
Hey, it's been our pleasure. You know, can't thank you enough because the time has flown by. We have talked a lot. The time has flown by.
I mean, we probably could have talked way more.
I'm sure. I'm sure Mark's coming back on. I can tell you that. Mark, can you let our listeners know how they can follow you guys on social media, please?
Everything is under Horrors Untold or Horrors Untold official. I almost said unofficial. No, this is the unofficial podcast. We are the official Horrors Untold on the unofficial Universal Language.
Just to confuse things. We'll put links up.
All right, I guess I will.
Yes, he will put links up.
I'll have to remember how.
Thank you, Lee. It's very nice of you.
Yes. You know, I don't want him to have any spare time. My goodness, no.
I've got to edit this first and then come up with links as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
We can do it.
I love this we part.
We're a team.
We're not a bloody team. That's the problem.
Teamwork. We just cheer you on while you do it.
Lee's also going to do a full read-through on TikTok, so make sure to check that out.
There we go.
Yeah. Story time with Lee.
I've done that for other books. I don't think this one would work that way.
That'd be an interesting take, though.
I did. Anyway, we're not talking about other books right
Okay. Before this gets any more derailed, we're going to wrap up the podcast. Don't forget, we want you to rate the Freeze Ray Pops and send in your recordings, as well as sending us your How Bad is Fast and Furious Supercharged jokes. And you can send all of that to us at podcast@uuopodcast.com. But for now, ta-ta.
That's the end of another Stella episode of UUOP. Use the Flu Network to give you access to us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, and Pinterest. Just search UUO Podcast. And check out our blog at uuopodcast.com for everything else. Send your owls to us at podcast@uuopodcast.com. And if you want to join the Producers Club, jump down the warp pipe at uuop.supercast.com. It's alive on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else the podcasts are found. So please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you can. Dragons aren't the only way to get around. Email Michelle at portkeyvacations.com. She can take care of all aspects of your next Universal Orlando vacation. Listen to them, Children of the Night, the children of the UUOP network. Rush of Fear, Halloween Horror Nights podcast, the theme park duo for all your West Coast news and info, the Taste of Universal, Universal Orlando food podcast, and the Portkey Passport, an adult-centric Disney podcast. Make sure to subscribe and come back next week because in the end, it turns out all we needed was a little more of this.